ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the December 29th episode, 2025 of Travis Told You. I'm Travis Snell. We're in that limbo, right? We're in the weird limbo, which I was trying to think of. No one will steal this from me. If it's out there, let me know. Is there any movie or anything of note that has, like, whether it's romance, comedy, horror, a movie set in between I'd say after Boxing Day and New Year's, right? I feel like there's something there. I feel like there's something possibly to play with there, because it is a weird time, right? I had lots of things where, luckily, I had 4 days off. I had Christmas, Boxing Day, and then the weekend. And I got that coming up again this week, so very happy about that. Only 3 days of work and then 4 days off, which is just feels refreshing. I wish I lived. I'm jealous of anybody that gets 3 days off. That'd be nice. 4 days is like an actual break. 2 days, of course, is a break, but I never feel like it's a break because I always say this before, where it's like, okay, if you're lucky, if I'm lucky, like if you're extremely lucky, one day, both days, you get to rest, do nothing. But nowadays with life, everything, job, usually that's when we're filming. We're starting filming again. I'm hanging out with the kids. We got stuff going on. Usually it's one day is chores, do things, and the other day is maybe relax a little bit, then you're getting ready for the week, right? 3 days at least you could do those. Even 2 days of doing chores, getting things ready and have the day off. 4 days is an actual break. Everything else longer than that is great, but 4 days feels like an actual break. So yeah, it's been nice. It's been a good time, but it feels weird. I was, because of Christmas being like the Wednesday, Thursday, and then my breaks, I just had what was it? Thursday, Friday. Well, Thursday, Friday for Boxing Day. I had no idea what was going on, but let me share this right now. I don't even know. I don't know if I got a gift to share here. You know what? I know what I gotta use here. But yes, we are here. Travis Told You. I said that I wasn't sure if we were going to be doing another news one, and I think we're going to be doing at least this one or two. So I did say that, it might just be the movie rankings. We'll wait and see, because obviously later on this week I got Stranger Things, which a big thank you to everybody that's checked out that episode for this month. And we're going to talk about that. Today we're talking about, I'll get back to the plugs in a second. Today we're talking about the Avengers Doomsday third trailer leak, obviously in the title and the promotion. I feel like it's not a big deal now to share like what the leak is, right? If you're really going back to Avatar multiple times and you're disappointed I leaked it for you, I guess I apologize for that. But they're doing this whole weird thing where it sounds like we're not even getting a Doom trailer, and it sounds like we might not even get like a full trailer till Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy to think about. But they're trying something different, and I think there's pros and cons to it. But I think for the most part, it's pros, because as we saw last week when they put out the full Steve Rogers trailer, just HD on social media, YouTube, whatever, it killed. Did terrific numbers, right? You got to remember, there's an audience of people like us that are going to search out and find these things, and then there's an audience of people that are just going to wait. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But we're talking about that. We're talking about the box office big weekend for Avatar 2, which, your boy fucking told you, No, that's a big hot take. I just feel like, again, we talked about before, the narrative that was happening week one. It's like, hey, everyone slow down. And then A24 also, biggest weekend of all time. Like, great numbers and things to see. Like, this whole campaign working for Timothée Chalamet. Great numbers to see overall. And then we're going to talk about a little bit Stranger Things, because the blowback there, some reviews. Is it review bombing? Are people upset? Is it actually going to be hailed as the Game of Thrones final season? I don't know. We'll talk about that. But for that episode, thank you to everyone that listened. In 3 days, that became our biggest episode of the month. Beat Avatar, beat It, which was good, because it was... We talked about this on the finale of It. We're like, I don't know if we're going to do season 2, because, I liked it, not as much as Taylor and some others, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. But the numbers started really good. Like the first episode, I think it had a lot to do with the time changes Halloween, but those episodes did like all right, but we always have a number at Geek First, like what we want to hit to justify doing an extra cast, which is a review, and also we don't do this full time, and we're like, you know what, it's season 2, probably can shelf that, not gonna happen. But then 7 and 8, the finale, just fucking jumped up. I guess people were just waiting for Pennywise, but those did really well for us. So we'll see where season 2 lays. But thank you everyone that tuned into the Stranger Things episode, because it was Christmas, Boxing Day, a little awkward timing, but it did very well for both financially and downloads wise. Like I said, biggest episode of the month. Don't know where it will be in the grand scheme of all things, but later on this week, I think I am seeing Stranger Things in the theater. So I think I will be trying to drop a review because the girls are being watched by my auntie and mom. And we're all going to hang out for New Year's ball drop, all that stuff. But I think they're going to be hanging out. So I think I'll be able to sneak away and do my Stranger Things review there. So look out for it. If you're doing nothing New Year's Eve, your boy will be live talking about that. But thank you to everyone who listened to that. Very much appreciate it. And then, yeah, this week there's a Dylan solo episode that I think he's going over his actual full Game of the Year in-depth stuff. We have here, Travis told you on Wednesday. I think it will be happening 11. I have to check because my daytime work schedule, I work a little smaller because New Year's. But I think it'll be happening. But I think that's going to be more news. I got a bunch of Marvel rumors that have come out. I'm not going to talk about them today because it would be a bunch of stuff. So that's a tune in for Monday. We're talking about Secret Wars stuff. Or Wednesday, sorry. Secret Wars stuff. Moon Knight rumors, Doctor Strange rumors, all happening Wednesday, 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. PST. So if people were wondering when I said, I'll probably do my movie rankings, I'll wait till next week to do that. I'm sneaking in a few. I saw K-pop Demon Hunters, finally. I saw Honey Don't last night. I'm watching Long Walk currently today. I paused for this. And then I really want to try and see Mari Supreme. It's like Nosferatu. I didn't want to do my list till then. Mari Supreme, I'm gonna see if I can see it because it's tough timing. I do really also want to see the Lord of the Rings re-releases again. I only did it 2 years ago, so if I miss them, it's fine. But I would love to see them. But they're awkward times. Obviously, 4-hour movies, so I get why they are. But yeah, so we'll see. But I want to try and see Mari Supreme before I make my list. But if not, next week I will do my my top 10 or not top 10. I'll rank every movie I've seen. Over about 80 now. I'm trying to get to 85, 86, so I can at least tie from last year. And I'm seeing the ones that I did want to see that I haven't crossed off yet. Like I said, Mario Supreme, Long Walk, Roofman, lots of stuff there. So yeah, I hope everyone had a very good Christmas and a good Boxing Day. Hope you bought some stuff. I didn't really buy anything really. I'm looking at buying one of the Resident Evil remakes, but I might get Games Pass for it, so I don't know. I got some nice gifts, got lots of pretty much I just asked for I asked for stuff I want. I don't like stuff that I need. I don't like utensils, and I don't mind clothes. Like I got this from Emily. I very much enjoy this top, and I wanted stuff like that because I'm trying to change my attire in the real life. And then my favorite gift that I got from Emily as well. I requested a few months ago, forgot. Doctor Sleep 4K. You can't see shit in this video, but Doctor Sleep 4K, the director's cut. I've been waiting because I was hoping she would get that, and then I remembered Christmas, like, oh, she probably got me that 4K, and I forgot what I asked for. But yeah, nowadays I trying to get a bit more physical media for the ones I find that I'm rewatching over. But I hope everyone had a good Christmas. I hope everyone had a good New Year's coming up. I don't know what you're doing or what you're up to, but I hope that's good. Whatever you did, hope you had a good time. And yeah, I got a couple more still Christmas things I like to watch. We have a rule that until it's the new year, we still watch some Christmas or Christmas adjacent stuff. So yeah, let's get into this right now. I guess I can get that starting soon. Where am I? Am I not live on? Oh my goodness. Jeez Louise, I have to thank the man in the chair. Holy moly, S Bubs. Oh, thank you. I'm going to respond to him right now. Thank you. It was unlisted, comma. I owe you big time. I There you go. Luckily, I didn't talk any of the news for the YouTube people. Thank you to S Bobs. I'll send him a bonus on the gimmick pay stub coming up. I gotta do that in January. So gimmick boys, GUA people, pay stubs coming in. Whatnot in January for the last 6 months here. But no, I was not live on YouTube. I guess I made the stream last night, and the problem is behind the scenes. If you make the stream on YouTube and change the time, it's fine. Changing the time on Facebook and Twitter, it's a pain in the ass. So shout out to S-Bubs who said that I was unlisted. I'll see people on Facebook and Twitter are watching. But yeah, if you missed that, hope you had a good holidays. And yeah, let's get into it. Let me get down to starting soon here. Let me get into it now. So Avengers, this trailer, obviously they are doing the method right of every week. They are doing a new trailer. We have talked about this before where obviously came out. Steve Rogers, the Thor. I think they're doing this thing where it seems like every Tuesday the HD version one comes out. So obviously I didn't really cover the Thor one. If you want, like the Thor one is even Katie asked, like, oh, does anyone have it? It's just like It's just a prayer. Yeah, there you go, S-Bubs. That's why he's the official guy in the chair. Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much. And yeah, see, S-Bubs, look at all the people in the chat now. Thank you very much. Made sense. People are watching, but it's been more quiet. So thank you, everybody that's joining. But obviously, we got the first trailer that they released with Steve Rogers, did big numbers, right? And that showed kind of what I said before, where there's people that, like us, that are seeking it out and people that are waiting for it. I talked to, and there's a lot of stuff I'll talk to about I'll save the Chris Evans thing because I always use my family as GA barometers, right, for what's going on and everything, right? So I'll talk about that when I get to this trailer now. So we got that one. We got the Thor trailer, which is just him saying goodbye to love and praying, right? But it did kind of emphasize, at least I think the only thing it gave us was, okay, Steve as a child, Thor, they're emphasizing, hey, if you didn't see Love and Thunder, which lots of people did, big movie, he as a child, Reed as a child, there's probably some other people I'm forgetting. You got T'Challa's child in there, right? Like I imagine if they age him up, Shuri will be looking after him. So we've heard the rumor of Doom is losing a child, at least, right? So that would make sense where you have all these heroes with children, and that's kind of a way to pay him back. He's doing the whole fucking Penguin from Batman Returns plot, right? As far as, okay, I'm going to take your firstborns. Fine, that's all right. I still have some questions. I still, like with Downey on Christmas, when he shared another Instagram post, he does this a lot, where it's Iron Man and Doom. I've said this, I was talking with the Marvel boys, which stay tuned. Next week, Marvel Alliance will be back. I have to confirm with Chris if they're doing predictions or not. I know they got lots of trailers to break down with these teasers, so we'll see. But anyways, whenever they do the 2026 predictions, I'll be on there because I love being that. That's a yearly cast. I haven't been on a bit. But I was talking with them, and I still will say this. All I need is for Doom and Iron Man to be linked one way. If it's not going to be a fail, but if like Victor Von Doom just happens to look like Robert Downey Jr., that will at least probably be a point off for me in review. I know that sounds dumb, but in this universe and how big Downey was and Iron Man, even if I love what Brent said a long time ago, where whether you swap either way, where it was Victor Von Doom was adopted by the Starks, or Tony Stark was adopted by Victor Von Doom, whichever one I say. I've heard there's being rumors of them saying like that's what they're going to do for the 616, like the main universe, like Downey from Iron Man to Endgame was actually Victor Von Doom adopted. I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of odd for our number one hero to be like always a villain, but at the same time, the idea is, well, if Downey's going to stick around as Doom, he's going to be more important. They can get an actual Iron Man, and maybe that can make people feel better about this because, oh, this is the guy Iron Man. I don't know. I've said this before. I feel like the movie, the rules, all this is going to be a big fucking mess. And I hope they can just land the plane. And I hope I can enjoy it. And I hope that stuff makes sense. I am not optimistic about a lot of it, but I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm definitely curious. It's going to be a great review. It's going to be a great watch. Don't get me wrong. I just hope it's in a way that when I watch Endgame, I don't have to ignore what happened here, right? Which I think what they're playing with could be. Then we got this third trailer, right? And again, for anybody that's watching live, I'm not going to pull up any clips, any pictures. I don't want to risk of this channel getting shut down. So it's out there if you want to find it. They did like tear this one down a lot quicker, I'd say. The Thor one took longer to get out there, but there's not much to it. But Steve Rogers, I feel like was out there for like, half a day. There's better versions like, okay, we'll start taking it down. The X-Men one, it was out there for an hour and then it was gone. And then, oh, it's back. Oh, it's gone. It was, I don't know. Like, maybe that's part of the appeal, right? That they want people to look faster. Because I've said this before. Every time these trailers leak and get out there, they trend on Twitter. The people are looking for them, trying to find them, right? So maybe that was the idea of like take it down. Or maybe it was like, let's play this a little bit longer. It is, obviously, I'm going to say it, it is the X-Men or some of the X-Men. Let's have this play and be a big moment, right? So that's what this trailer was. Very cool trailer where, oh, that's what I was going to say. With the Thor one, it really didn't do anything other than to me of like, there's no announcement, no big scene, no reveal. I guess it's just to be like, okay, yeah, Hemsworth is back. Y'all love Chris Hemsworth, right? But also felt like it was for the not haters, but some of those people that are haters or don't like that Thor. I think it's still a small majority of people that are complaining to that much. But it was like, hey, funny Thor, he's not in this. Don't worry, we've cut his hair. He's back to being how he was in Endgame. As we've heard, the rumor is this movie is a direct sequel to Endgame. With Thor's hair being short, it literally feels like it could be that. The daughter, you could fill in anyway, right? He had an adopted daughter. He had a daughter out of wedlock. They might say a couple things, right? Even when he meets Loki, right? even if you had Loki in that trailer, that would have been big, but nothing really big than other than, hey, Hemsworth's in this movie and he's not funny. Okay, which I'm sure would be funny, but you know what I mean, right? So we get this trailer, which are hitting on a lot of classic stuff, right? They show the X Mansion looking very rad, very battle worn, and we don't know because we'll get to it at the end of the trailer what the status of the mansion is. Is it battle worn because the students are there? Is it battle worn because the attack? We don't know. But it's Xavier, and he's talking. He's just got like a couple lines. You show him moving a chess piece, stuff like that. That's great. And then where was the? I'll get the quote here. He's talking with Magneto, who. This is the biggest thing, and this is why I'm excited to it. And at some point, I want to, when we get the full trailer, talk with the boys about this, the GV boys, and do like a full, it might be like a good bread and butter. I don't know. And maybe in the Super Bowl trailer, if that happens, we're going to get revealed of who it is, right? But anyways, he's sitting there. Magneto's bearded, long hair. He says, "Death comes for us all." That's all I know for sure. The question is, if you aren't, or sorry, the question isn't, are you prepared to die? The question is, who would you be when you close your eyes? Now, obviously, before we get to the back half here, we don't know the status of any of these fuckers, right? Right? That's the thing. Xavier has died 3 times. He died in Last Stand, he died in Logan, and he died in Multiverse of Madness. And we've always said, is this an Xavier that is new? And it's, hey, here's an Xavier, here's a completely new universe, go. Is this an Xavier that's picked from before one of those times where he dies? That's where it gets tricky. I felt like the Endgame and MCU, Endgame and the MCU established what their time travel rules are. I think a lot of this multiverse stuff, if you do something like bringing Xavier back, I guess it kind of maybe breaks some of that, right? So there's times where I remember the Endgame, we talked in the review, and I tried to justify it. Maybe they will again this time. I feel like I'm just going to throw that out the window. That is kind of a score against it, in my opinion, but that's the whole MCU, right? But I'll just throw it. I'll go, okay, whatever. Multiverse time travel mumbo jumbo. Might not make sense. I've said this before. It still doesn't technically make sense about Logan being in the Deadpool universe, right? Because in the Deadpool universe, they're talking about Logan being a hero and sacrificing himself. If people or people have forgotten, Logan takes place far in the future, like after Deadpool 2 and 3. So if you bring Logan, like a Logan from that universe, into the one where he dies, there's still a Logan that's going to die. Granted, like this one won't, I guess. It's like the whole Captain America thing, right? Where I believe that Cap went to a different multiverse. Now there's chances where actually, no, he's been sitting there the whole time, just waiting, chilling, doing nothing. And it's a time travel thing, right? It's very messy. It's all over the place. That's where some turbulence is going to happen in this plane analogy, right? So in this sense of Magneto, right? One thing I thought was very interesting in Days of Future Past, and they know they did nothing with it in the movies, and that was not a setup for this movie. So don't think like, oh, hey, they set up long term. No. In Days of Future Past, I've liked the suggestion too that people have said, hey, if they use Steve Rogers going back to being with Peggy as like a way where it started an incursion, right? Wolverine in Days of Future Past, like going like to and from, like saving that universe. If they want to make that incursion like retroactively, that'd be cool. Like I'm down with that. And my point is, when they went back, one of my favorite scenes of all time, when he sees the school and the score, the whole time I got goosebumps right now. Fuck. And then at the door when he sees Jean and he goes to touch her and Scott, hey, that's my girl. Like, oh, it's good to see. Like he's happy to be annoyed. Oh, goosebumps. Listen to retrospective me, Kyle, and Kirkland did. I fucking love that movie. Top 10 comic book movie. I think I'd have to look at the list now. There's been so many, but I think that's still up there for me. But what was always very interesting is when he went back, you did not see Mystique and you did not see Magneto. And when we got Flash, like obviously that Days of Future Past, I think Logan is supposed to be the Logan, right? From the James Mangold movie. They just say all the mutants died. We don't know what happened with them, right? So, and same thing with like Logan from Deadpool. That's where it gets confused. But Logan from Deadpool, all his X-Men died, right? Like we assume, right? He's the last one. He's the last of the X-Men. So I don't think it's that universe. And you could make an argument that maybe it is the Days of Future Past universe. That either you can say the Logan from James Mangold movie is just a whole different Logan in general, or that's one alternate universe that could happen, right? One possibility. Again, it gets messy. I see why a lot of people might jump off. But that's where just even Xavier or Magneto with the beard and the hair people point out times because like I've read many comics, but I'm not a comic aficionado. I put myself in like a C plus tier for knowledge. Maybe on certain times I could be a B, but like I can't. When I go on vodka stream and hear some of these guys, they are people that have read the stories and read the multiples. I've said this before where I need to go reread a lot of stuff because my cousin had a bunch of comics. I remember as a kid, I was just like, I need to go back, and that's why hopefully we do comic book versions again because that was a fun time. But there's been times where and I don't think this is it, right? But it could be with that quote. The reason I brought up, people have theorized, what if that is a moment where, in sometimes in comics, Magneto, multiple times, takes a metal adamantium off Wolverine and Xavier, and it even does this in Ultimate X-Men in a different way, kind of mind wipes Xavier, right? Xavier mind wipes Magneto, where he doesn't know who he is, that he's evil. We don't know if that's the situation. We don't know if Magneto's just bad. But in this quote where he says, the question isn't who are you prepared to die? Or, God, I keep fucking that. The question isn't are you prepared to die? The question is who would you be when you close your eyes, right? And that would kind of make sense if Xavier either mind wiped him or he's kind of been in like a mental coma where he just thinks he's a regular guy and Xavier has to wake him out of that, right? And you could argue, hey, Magneto might be pissed that you put him in this mental coma. And it's like, hey, like, you made me miss all this time. But at the same time, if Magneto got really bad and now the world's ending, you can see and again, this is the tough thing with Steve, with other stuff. They kind of did that in Days of Future Past, right? He was in the movie. He was a bad guy, and at the end, he goes, "Oh man, we really fucked up." I'm paraphrasing. We really fucked up. Like all this time we wasted, we could have been together. We could have been saving lives. We could have figured out a way. And it's a great moment, right? And then the Sentinels come in. You're kind of hitting on that again. If it's like, "Hey, we woke you up from this coma, and we need you to be good," and like, yeah, we wasted so much time. I get that, but I think this movie's going to hit on a lot of nostalgia, right? And before I go into the next point here, I'll transition into it. I was talking about, again, with Film Junkie or Vodka Stream. Everyone check out Film Junkie. You know, Dave, one of my good friends there on the online sphere. He was talking, because he's in the camp, and I understand this camp, right? I think Brent's in this camp. I think Chris and Dave might be in this camp a little bit. I think they might be a little worrisome. Maybe it's because I just talk more, but I think that Brent and tons of people are in this camp where Russo's, you could even make an argument that the Russo's directed if someone were to say they directed the Mount Rushmore in MCU movies, I would push back, but I would not, like, in my opinion, but I would not say it's a wrong opinion. Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Anybody could make those top four. I go, yeah, okay. Like, I think I wouldn't have Winter Soldier on there. I personally wouldn't have Infinity War there for a personal thing. I get why people do. I've always said I prefer Endgame, but that's a personal thing because I like depressing movies. So I love the first act when a lot of people are like, it takes a while. Like, I like the universe. It's a lot of great character work. Like, for me, like, Steve Rogers being the therapist, Paul Rudd finding his fucking daughter, like that's stuff, all the Downey and him and Evans coming back together, all the subtle stuff, like it's some great stuff, right? But that's a different cast. But anyways, because I was on I was trying to get a baby sleep last night. I've said before, if I'm on a bus or I'm trying to get a baby sleep where you just gotta hold them and it's like I got nothing else to do, that's where I'm on Twitter, or if it's live sports events. And I saw a Film Junkie, he had tweeted out about, because he's on the side where, because he trusts the Russos with the films because of what they've done in the past, and he thinks that it'll be A-okay, but he's still cautious, right? But he was pointing up that, man, people seeing the next character, aka Cyclops, doing the thing he does, looking the way he does, a lot of people are just turning and flipping, right? And that's where I am, where it's just like, we see a few seconds of this, and the deniers and I'll call myself a denier, not a hater. A hater is you want them to do bad. I don't. I think my biggest MCU thing, I could say the most I was worried up until and being proven wrong was Guardians 2. Because Guardians 2, now a lot of people would say you were right about that. All those trailers I did not really enjoy. That's what I love about having recorded podcasts. I was worried it was going to be a disappointment. I have the hot take of, I think I'll say Guardians 2 is my favorite. I think number 1's the best, but Guardians 2 is my favorite. A lot of people don't. A lot of people have like bottom 3 MCU or bottom 5 maybe now because there's other stuff, right? But I thought, no, I'm not going to enjoy this as much, and I loved it for many reasons. Check out the reviews, and we've talked about many times, right? So I want December 16th, 17th, whenever. Like, I don't think this will ever still reach Endgame Infinity War levels, but if they can land the plane and not be a complete mess, fix some things like they did with Infinity War and Endgame, if they can, to me, like, I think for the general audience, it needs to be a 7. If they can make this an 8 for me, I'm pretty happy. I'll be disappointed maybe in some aspects if it couldn't all come together, but it's been a bumpy road with COVID strikes, Kang, Iger, Chapik. It's been a bumpy phase in general, right? So it's not all their fault, all of their fault. I would take some water. I have no fucking idea where water is, so we're going out with the water this cast. Yeah, hashtag hell yeah, dry mouth. No one clipped that. So to me, that's where, and I'm getting back to, right? But I'd say I'm a denier. I'm pessimistic about. I am the same way where they've done that, and I don't even care about the track record. I know people bring up the other movies that does factor into the Russos' story of what they've done post Endgame and Infinity War, but still, it's like they're in the machine. I think they work well here. Let's see what they do, right? Um, for people just to flip and just and it's a lot of people that whether it is bigger accounts that people have retweeted or liked, because that's the way Twitter works, right? It's how it gets on your timeline, or people that are, and I'm excited to talk about this after 9 because I felt like everyone was, very like, I'm trying to suspect. Oh God, I've lost the fucking word. But a lot of people had it at arms as far as, and when we talk about After 9, as far as being excited, liking these characters, but worried about what's going to happen and how they're going to do it, right? I think with this is for the people at the end of the day, first world problems, I don't really care that much. If you were pessimistic and you saw this trailer, you saw, because the shot is, they go to fucking James Marsden Cyclops. He's in full gear, except for the trunks, which is so funny because I brought this up and I feel like people haven't talked about this, but like there's a big debate a couple of years ago when Superman was coming up in the trunks and no trunks. Maybe it's just a Superman thing. We'll see what happens with Batman, but no yellow trunks here. I'm always supportive of trunks. I don't care. It never looks like underwear to me. It's just part of a costume. No trunks on him, but other than that, like shoulder waist belt, the X on there, a visor looking very comebackery, his fucking leg belts, like blue suit. He looks very much like, instead of the fucking 2000 X-Men black leather, right? You want to wear yellow spandex? Other than the trunks, he is looking comebackery, right? He's covered in mud and blood. There's explosions around him. He whips off his visor, falls to his knees. Massive blast. The X-Mansion, it looks like behind him, is destroyed. There's a fucking Sentinel walking. Absolutely. Does it look great? Is it cool? Is it filled with aura? Absolutely. But when I see the trend, and I'm looking for these trailers, I see the Russos are cooking. They get the X-Men. We should have never doubted the Russos. Da. People that are not doing that for just engagement, because obviously that's filled with that now with people with trying to get money from Twitter, right? Unless you are feeling genuine about that, that's great. If you were, oh man, I don't really care about this, you saw this, and that just got you excited, that's fine. Be excited. I'm not here to yuck and yum or rain on a parade, right? Absolutely. I'm just trying to bring in some perspective. I'm trying to hit you on the head, right? It's funny because I can't remember. Oh, Maddie, you inspired me on this because I saw you watch fucking Superman again. If you're listening, you watch Superman again. I clicked to say, how many times have you seen this, right? And then when I saw that, I saw your 4 favorites. Great choices. It was Oppenheimer, the Batman, No Time to Die. And I can't remember the 4th one. The Batman, I've always, you know me, Maddie, I always struggle with putting in the top 10 because I already got the Dark Knight there. But there's days where I wake up and go, oh, that's the way I feel. But No Time to Die, when I saw that in there, and I remember this is what we all need, right? Because it's all fun. But when I walked out of the theater, I said, that's my favorite Bond, best Bond, yet da. And when I sat down, Kirkland felt a little different about it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just on a high. And I don't know if I can't remember if I gave it full 10, but I was like, this is peak Bond now, right? And then once he started talking, I went, yeah, that's kind of true. And yeah, that's right. I still loved it. But it still critiqued a little bit. I'm like, okay, I still put Skyfall above. I still put GoldenEye. I still put Casino Royale. I still put, I don't know if I put any of the older Bonds. Maybe Goldfinger, right? But I was like, oh, okay, that kind of brought down. But Manny, it'd be in the top 4. I'm not going to push back. I'm with you there, brother. But that's where it was. This is where I am. I'm here to give you just a hit on the 4. Just a reminder, right? It's cool to see hype aura stuff. This is like, it's like in any type of romantic comedy or dramedy. There's like the hot employee at work or something like that. Look at Love Actually, right? Let's say you walk in the bedroom, walk in the office, and they're sitting there naked. They might be fucking 100 out of 10, your dream girl, whatever. But remember, You're married, and if you're happy, go home. Be with the person you love the most. Don't get distracted by the pretty guy or the pretty lady. Cyclops with the outfit with the big blast in the center of the back is the pretty guy and the pretty lady. I'm not saying saying that and like Doomsday is gonna be absolute shit. No, I have worries it's gonna be a mess and a failing grade, or like a 6 out of 10, which to me is that should not be Avengers movie, right? Ultron to me is a 7 out of 10. I think that was a little bit messy, but I think they could afford to do that back then, and I think that was fine because we kind of got Civil War after, which was kind of a mea culpa, right? I mean, that's what Secret Wars is. But Cyclops is the pretty guy or girl. It looks great, but if you were like me, where you were worried, don't get distracted by the shiny thing. Don't get distracted by. I can trust the Russos to make hype moments. I can trust them to do aura moments. That's great of Cyclops and James Marsden too, which people thought was a great casting for Cyclops, just got riddled with bad scripts and bad placement with Wolverine being the main, right? That like it's great. Comic accurate look, costume, the visor, it looks like an epic moment. That is very easy. That is the which I'm not with this, but that is the equivalent of people that say, hey, dream sequences should get banned in trailers. Because look at BVS, right? And BVS is different because of Justice League and where it would have gone if it continued. That the nightmare scenario stuff was real going into, right? But I remember after BVS, people being like, man, there's a bunch of cool looking shit and it's just a dream. That's fucking lame. And I wasn't on that. I didn't love the nightmare stuff at most back then. I have warmed up to it now and I would love to see that movie. But I understood people, or even like, fake stuff in trailers with Avengers Infinity War, right? It's easy to put this hype stuff. It is 90 seconds of looking cool, and it's nostalgia. And I've seen people, even critics, they're like, oh, I've seen them playing chess. Like, I'm back. Don't get me wrong. Same thing. I'll talk about on SideQuest. The last couple weeks, I've been trying to knock off some of the backlog. I played Resident Evil 2. I was a big fan when I was a kid. And with the remake, there was multiple things of literally I was transported. And I said this in the Game of the Year, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating. I was transported back to Travis being, 8 to 10 on his PS2 playing that game. It's like, oh, we need the medallions. It's that Ratatouille meme, right? I was there. Now, the opposite flip side, though, is the Resident Evil remake's a great game. That's what they have to do if you can do the both of them, right? And to me, lots of people don't have there. Deadpool Wolverine did that for me. It was a great mix of nostalgia and new stuff and a good journey. Sure, there were some beats we kind of hit on with Wolverine we'd done before. It wasn't the strongest losing the X thing. I think it is, I've said it before, that movie's a 10 out of enjoyment. As far as an actual, I couldn't give it a 10 for a critical because I think these things missing. No Way Home, Endgame, I think also hit on those things that were perfect nostalgia. And then those to me, I have no problem giving 10s, right? Nostalgia, but did stuff for the story. That's all they need. It can be done. Don't get me wrong. But Endgame, No Way Home, and Deadpool Wolverine had a lot less baggage. Endgame had it had baggage, don't get me wrong, but didn't have that type of baggage as far as they were rocking and rolling. They knew where they were going, right? No Way Home was... I don't think they really had much baggage. I think it was kind of not a layup to make the movie, but just a layup as far as people were going to accept that stuff in there, right? Saying the Deadpool Wolverine, it had been a while, we're just bringing Wolverine back. We love that, right? And that's where, though, maybe it doesn't matter, right? We'll talk about the box office in a second, but obviously Lilo and Stitch, just a rehash of the live action stuff. Minecraft, to me, not a good movie, but you could argue that's tons of nostalgia and moments of the same thing I talked about. Resident Evil Medallion of like, oh, the Creeper, they said this, they did this, right? Maybe that's where you still need to be like, actually, no, you don't. You don't. I take that back. Because I hate the argument of they just got to make a good movie. They don't. For me, Minecraft is an awful movie. Awful, and it made nearly $1 billion, right? I think sometimes being a great movie can definitely help you, right? But sometimes you just need to get the perfect cocktail of nostalgia and stars and effects and enjoying it and everything, right? Same thing as Avatar 3. It's killing it. For majority of reviews I've read and people, I'd say listened because I don't really read many reviews, but podcasts that I listen to and my friends, other than Taylor Kirkland, and I guess Mike had that too, but before I talked to them on After 9, everybody I talked to is like, yeah, it's the lowest of 3. Doesn't matter. It's going to be $1 billion. It's going to be lower than 2, but still doesn't matter for them. If they can get up to almost 2 billion, if they get $1 billion on their hat, but if they get almost to 2 billion, which is what they're looking at, That's great, right? So I was talking about this with my sister because we were talking a bunch of things. We'll talk about the Stranger Things, but she's very general audience, right? Like she's just watching Breaking Bad now. After years of me telling her to watch Breaking Bad, she would no interest, and then text me, "Oh, it's a great show all the time." But there's an example of Walter does bad things in that show, and she only cares when he does things to main character she likes, not the innocent people. But I was like, hey, you're not really understanding this. But again, people just enjoy things, watch things in a different way, right? So we talked because she had seen this. I think she'd seen a trailer or like a TikTok, and she clicked on it and saw like a lot of people in the comments not happy with the Chris Evans thing. And I don't think it was negative, but she was just not happy with, or she was wondering why people were kind of like, oh, he's bad. Like, I think and I don't know, I didn't send her anything, but whatever she clicked on was definitely a fan base of people like myself of love Chris Evans, love Steve Rogers, is my favorite MCU character. Do we need to bring him back in this fashion, right? I've talked about it, you can go back a couple weeks ago. Is this needed? Is this kind of a mistake? Are you just heavily relying on nostalgia? And with Downey, Evans, I think they are, right? As I've said, it's just a question of how good can they make the nostalgic story, but they're leaning on it big time. So she go, why is everyone mad? And I kind of explained what I do, on podcasts, like people, there's other characters that we followed, kind of feels like he had a perfect ending. Listed all the reasons someone might be mad, right? Not exactly the exact one. It's like Stranger Things, which we'll talk about. Seems like people are mad for a bunch of different reasons, right? But still, I listed the kind of ballpark, right? And I said, so that's just oh, okay. And then I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but she just kind of said like, oh, I don't care. I'm just happy to see Chris Evans back. And that's where I think the majority, and when I was talking about it with Dave too, like when he said his dad saw the trailer and kind of had a similar thing, right? Like, oh, cool, he's back. Didn't care about the story. Why? Majority of the people that are seeing, because they have all of us LinkedIn, right? Majority of the people seeing this movie are going to be people that are those hardcore mainstream, just the mainstream people that love those Infinity War, Endgame, all that stuff, right? And that's where I've said before, as a watcher, as a fan, as someone that's stuck with the Phase 4 to Phase 6 and wants better things for the MCU, I don't like that it's nostalgic. Because here's the thing, if it's nostalgia and it sucks, then, as I said before, they're big time screwed. I've said it on this cast. If it's nostalgia, like a 7 out of 10, I think they're fine. They got the audience. People will come back for the bigger stuff. They're fine. But if it's nostalgic and it sucks, and we'll have to see Rise of Skywalker, that can really damage the brand, right? But if it's nostalgic and just good, people are happy. There's people that like this. They've seen the Cyclops thing. They're fucking in. And it is cool when the trailer ends and it says the X-Men. I'm getting goosebumps now. The X-Men will return in Avengers Doomsday. It has been like what? Also, we got adjacent stuff. But when was Dark Phoenix? And obviously, it didn't go on like the big thing. Oh no. Oh, it's 2019 as well. So it's just kind of funny where we're talking about like this being a direct sequel, and it's just like, we're like, oh, we're bringing back the things from 2019. Thor, short hair, Captain America. When's the last time you saw the X-Men like as a unit? 2019. And we're bringing it back. So, but it is cool where it's like, yeah, we haven't seen that team for a while. And that's why I still want to do a cast with boys, because granted, I still wonder what this does of you bring all these actors back, and does that not maybe, because I argued for After Dark Phoenix, I was someone that said, you know what? They want to do First Class. Derek M says, dude, that James Marsden shot was enough to get me in. And that's what it is, right? And that's not like for Derek or anybody else. I'm not just trying to say it in an offensive way, right? Because I'm already in, and we talk about all the stuff like, does the story matter? Does it bring them back? Like what I was just going to say, does it matter? Like I thought that they should have brought back the old cast after Dark Phoenix. I thought there was momentum there. I think everyone I talked to when I was watching movies, that was before the podcast, I said go to theaters with like 20 to 30 of my friends from Best Buy. What I do is when I was, friends and colleagues, but I'd go buy tickets for everybody and we make it a big movie night. That was one where people were excited to see like Xavier, Scott, Jean, like all that stuff. People, I think, would have been down for an old X-Men one, right? And do you do that again where I said, do you reset the ticker? When you brought back Hugh Jackman, every time you reset the ticker of people accepting a new Wolverine. Do you do that again with the X-Men? Sure, you kill them. But what happens if you bring them back and people love this movie? They love the Cyclops stuff. They're like, oh, I'd like to see them again. You kill them, and the next X movie comes out with a bunch of new actors, and it doesn't do well. Why? Because it's not the X-Men they love. And the thing is, you might go, oh, well, they killed them off. Shouldn't they get it? You have established Xavier, Downey, even writing off Steve Rogers. You've established now, just like in comic books, It doesn't matter. There's a multiverse. There's things you can do. You kill off somebody, that is not the end of the road. Nobody's ever really gone, as Luke Skywalker said, right? So that's why to me, I think there is a good shot that people love this, and they announce, oh yeah, Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, and all this is like, yeah, I don't really want them back, like that's, or like at least now, right? It's not been long enough, right? So I think there is a risk there, but I don't think they care. They're trying to get their money and their hoopla, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, don't get me wrong. It's the teaser is like a HT 480. It looks very cool though. I'm excited for the full thing. Aesthetically, everything. As far as a teaser, yes. And again, marketing wise, absolutely. The X-Men have been gone now for 7 years, right? And they're getting and even them, right? You could argue that this set of X-Men, like James Marsden and Ian McKellen, since 2014. So 12 years. There is hype in the X-Men will return. And it's so funny before we move on to the box office. People seeing the X-Men will return in Avengers Doomsday. That doesn't even make sense because they were never in this universe. It should be like, join Avengers Doomsday or will be in Avengers Doomsday. So to me, everybody in the past that's been like, when's Batman joining the Avengers? Or, the X-Men, and you go, oh, no, it's this. Anybody that felt that way and was told otherwise or have never been told feel a little justified. They might be this whole time watching these X-Men movies. And this is somebody, right? This is someone in the GA that watched the X-Men and watched the Avengers and went, man, I would love them to do an Avengers and X-Men movie, not knowing the whole Fox and the rights and different characters. For them, this is not Disney bought Fox and got X-Men and they're bringing them back, even though they're fucking finally doing it. It's just like BVS, right? Like obviously it's different actors, but it's like we're finally getting Batman vs Superman. For a lot of people, this is wow. Same thing as Avengers or Endgame. Oh, they're bringing them together. Finally, they're bringing the X-Men in here. I've been waiting forever. Or Hugh Jackman, right? That was $1 billion movie. They didn't know anything about the rights or the character or Hugh Jackman being done. It's like, finally, they're doing this. I've been waiting forever. The same way as one point if we ever get Avengers versus Justice League or that type of movie, they'll be, finally, they're putting these comic books together. They've been like this for years. Nope. But I just laughed when I saw that Avengers or X-Men will return Avengers Endgame. It's like, they're not returning to anything. They've not been here before, right? This is their first time, a lot of them, but doesn't matter. And that's the way it plays. So I think marketing wise, still smart. I think it's a great trailer. We'll see. I think there's a rumor about the next one being Black Panther and Fantastic Four, which I think is good. Like, raise them up on level. I'm wondering if there is any reveal there. And then, because this had come out last week what was it? Because Snyder, so B tier, put out that it was going to be X-Men, it was going to be F4 and Black Panther. He had also put out that he had heard that Marvel's trying to hold back on the Doom stuff. And I wonder if that's just because they want to give it one last big, like they want to just see how it's doing before and push after. They really want to make you wait and see. If it is that rumored plot line we talked about of what if he is appearing as Iron Man or Tony Stark and then the switch happens, right? Because there is tons of people that will not know that. You could do that. Or is it just kind of like, remember with Endgame, Thanos was barely in those trailers until the very final trailer. They showed like a shot of Thanos, right? So that's the thing where it kind of like it works. You're showing all this stuff. There's no way they're not showing Downey in a trailer. Because to me, if you don't show Downey in a trailer, they should have never done the Comic-Con thing. Obviously, they want to get hype with us, right? But like they're going to show them. It's just a question of how. Maybe it's that full trailer when we get the Super Bowl, but I think they should still do, even if it's like T'Challa Jr. growing up a little, have a little something in there. But I think it's still good, and I'm excited to see this in HD, and excited to see the X-Men back. Who knows how it's gonna go, but happy to see them back. And in comic accurate costumes, we saw Xavier with this jacket, the blue jacket with the red X. So there was that thing a couple months ago that leaked that was like a crew like sweater or something like that. So it looks like all of those looks have matched the teasers. So if there is a full trailer, I still would like, Sam and the crew to get some love, but we're not doing that. We're here to sell tickets, right, folks? We're not here to give teams love or like make them seem like big players, just to get these tickets going. So we will see. Let me pull up the box office for this weekend. Obviously, it's kind of all over the place because it is a you got Christmas box office, but then it's also what is it? It's you had Christmas box office, Box of Day, Christmas Eve, but also the weekend. So there's kind of a hybrid. So I'm going to be talking about just kind of some numbers in general here. But Avatar currently sitting at 760 million. I think it's like the third or fourth biggest movie after a couple weekends, being a bunch of them. So obviously we talked about last week. It came out. It was about 31% down. So I think it was like 40 million lower than that for the Fire and Ash versus Way and Water. But obviously this happens a lot of time because if you start with a bigger number, your drop's going to be bigger the second weekend, right? So you would think, oh yeah, Fire and Ash would have a smaller drop because it has a smaller opening. It did, but what it also did is had a bigger second weekend than Avatar Way of Water. I think Way of Water was like, I'm spitballing, was like 160 versus 180 for Fire of Ash. As I said before, to me, Avatar 2 was the official, okay, let's see how this goes. What's going to happen once that made whatever billion and became the third biggest movie of all time. I'm not betting against Cameron. I can say that, I think it's going to be 600 million less, and it's going to be the lesser of the three and do about this. But again, 1.7 in this climate, that's fucking huge. And that's exactly what it's projected as. 1.7, 1.8. I went with 1.7. That's a win for them. And why would they not make Avatar 4 and 5? Right? Like, I don't know, unless Cameron doesn't want to do it, but it's like, I'm not going to bet against these movies. I really don't think so, because I think the good thing they have with them, I'm not sure. I know Cameron wants to make this Hiroshima movie. I don't know if it's going to happen in between, but I think if it does, then he goes back to Avatar. That's the benefit they do have that, Marvel films and comic films can hurt them, is there's at least a break, like Avatar 2 came out 2022, right? So 3-year break. So like by time you've kind of forgot about them or you start to miss them, there's the movie, right? So I'm not really surprised by this. It's kind of tracking how I thought it was going to go, even though that first weekend had like a lower opening than Way of Water. To me, it was just like exactly what I thought. Like, people need to, these movies perform in a different way. Christmas performs in a different way. So it did fantastic. The second weekend was outpacing Way of Water. So we'll see how the third one goes. But again, you still got, New Year's. That's also apparently a big day. You got January. There's not too much or too much things to get in its way, right? Because like we've talked about before, there's a Sam Raimi Sam Help movie. There is Bone Temple. I'll be seeing those, but I don't think those are big threats to Avatar, right? If anything, I think those movies are at risk, like opening there. I hope some of them work out well, but as what says, this one ends in a way where it very much is, if it didn't do well, it could have ended there. Yeah, I've heard that, right? I've heard that, but they've definitely been making 4 and 5 now. Yeah, and to me, that's smart now, right? Like Way of Water, I felt like that was, I still thought it was going to be huge. It was just a question of how big, but that kind of felt like it was in the bag, right? But they filmed them back to back. I think that is smart to end in that way, but that's what I've heard, where you could close it off here and you don't have to, but obviously has more ideas. So great. And they would probably film, because I feel like I don't know, didn't he talk about like 6 and 7 at one point? I don't know, like, get the fucking meme out, like 6, 7, or 8, like, I can't remember that, because I feel like, he talked about the trilogy, and he talked about 5, and then he started talking about more. I feel like the 5 is like the locked in place, while the first movie were so, yeah, I can't remember. Can you, I suppose anyone in the chat, let me know, like, he was talking about 6 and 7, right? Or was he just talking about 4 and 5? Maybe I was wrong, but I feel like that was a thing. But 4 and 5 feel more solidified as far as like okay, that's the Cameron run now, right? I'm not saying you can't make Avatar 6 or 7, but that's where some people might start to check out. That's when you start to get like Transformers, right? Eventually people went, okay, I'm kind of done here. I don't think you should stop making Avatar movies, but I think that's the thing where, you can have other directors do it or spin it off or do whatever. Now Fox, I think, owns it now, right? But yeah, it's doing great. Not surprised. That's what I thought it would do. So another big story, Marty Supreme opened at 28 million worldwide. They got changed up to 28.2. I can't wait to see this. As I've said before, Christmas movies are such a pain in the ass for me to see. It's always a difficult time, just with family and everything. So my plan is at some point, I should see I got to check my life and what's going on, but I want to see that before I rank the movies next year. I've heard nothing but great things, obviously, from Chris, but nothing but great things from people. So I know people have been starting to push it as like a best picture contender to win. Maybe. I still think Oba has that. I think that Timmy's gonna still win best actor, but still, it doesn't matter when people made jokes about, okay, thank you, S-Bubs. Last year, Cameron said he has up to 5 written, 6 and 7 are just ideas for now. Yeah, and that's where I think it's like a good place to stay. Maybe he's doing that again, where it's going to be like, okay, he'll do 4 and 5, and then it ends, and then if it does well, oh, we can do 6 and 7, but it's a good place to, he says, oh, I got ideas, but he also, oh, you know what, I don't want to do anything. And he's a weird guy, right? Saying he'd do a press conference to reveal the endings if they didn't happen. But I think I already thought he had 4 and 5. I still think you get to 6 and 7. It's just like a down the line, and maybe people start to tap out, but same thing. Even depending on the cost, because I think wasn't it both these movies, or was it just movie? I guess it depends. But even if you can make one movie and it's again 400 million, and you could get to even 800 or a billion, like it's still profit. It's still doing much better than a lot of other movies, right? So yeah, we'll see there. But yeah, Marty Supreme, whatever. This is where I talked about. We'll talk about predictions. I said some of the campaigning, the rap video, all this stuff in the past that would have been like, for the voters, not me, but for the voters, like, this is kind of cheesy, kind of I'm not going to give a best actor to this guy. The times have changed. The voting body's changed. The YouTube, it's going to YouTube. That's changed. Like the Oscars going to be on fucking streaming. And can you make a case? It'd be different if people didn't like these antics and the movie kind of just performed what it was going to do or even bombed. For him to do this promotional campaign, and then it was tracking at 15 to 17, right? Million, 28, so a whole 10 million over, 11 million over. How can you argue that, right? How can you go out there and see, because what was One Battle After Another's opening? One Battle After Another. I should just search it here because I'm on Box Office Mojo. One Battle After, because I can't remember its opening. I feel like it's like a 40 or 39 or something, right? No, see? So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to, because I think it had like a bigger, broader appeal, like being a bit more actiony, right? 205. I don't think Marty's going to get there. I think the Christmas bump actually helps it, but still, domestic opening, 22 million, Marty Supreme, 28. I think the Christmas buffer adds to it, so I feel like they kind of have a similar opening, but still, you can't make that case. That's a guy going, and to me, One Battle After Another, much more timely, all-round bigger stars. What, in Marty Supreme, you got Odessa Zion, who, like, I'm a big fan. Fuck, man. That's a Trash told you right there. Go back to the Hellraiser, the newest Hellraiser remake or whatever, reboot, whatever it was. Newest Hellraiser movie. I had never seen Odessa act, but I watched her and I was like, she's good. She's gonna be something. I bought the stocks when they cost low, and now I still have not watched I Love LA. I've not watched Marty Supreme, but she's becoming like this hot thing right now, right? And people have been pitching her for Wonder Woman because of the hair. Sure. I fucking # Trash told you. The show's called Trash Told You. I fucking called it on Odessa Zion. I knew that was gonna happen, right? But her is Gwyneth Paltrow really opening a movie? No, she adds to it, but is she opening a movie? No. One Battle After Another had much bigger star power. So you can't argue, like, whatever this guy's doing to go get people to see a A24 Oscar bait, he says an Oscar bait, but people might look at it that way, right? Oscar type of movie that's about ping pong. He worked his ass off and he fucking did it, and that's good. Sure, some of the stuff is a little like, not like, I don't love it. Like, I'm not watching the full rap video, but cool. If it hits on the audience and get people out there, I'm all for movies doing well. A24's biggest opening. This fucking guy set a record. How can it's undeniable, right? I've not seen Marty Supreme, so I have to see if it's better than the other performances. But it's like, if it is for me, it's like, how do you not hand him the award, right? Fuck the whole, the old narrative wasn't the Oscars. You make the males wait, the young females get the Starlet Awards and the males got to earn it. Fuck it. Like, he's already earned it, by the way. Chalamet's earned it multiple times over. So, like, I think it's fun, but, like, still huge. Biggest opening in A24 weekend. We'll have to see what happens when they do Elden Ring or Death Stranding, but still, based off that, fantastic. So, yeah, it's great for them. Excited to see how it does in the next little bit. Excited to add to that tally because I will see it in theaters, because I was even iffy on, like, the ping pong movie. Both those trailers were phenomenal, right? So, and then last on the box office here, I don't know the exact number, but it was number 2. So obviously this weekend it was Avatar again. It was Zootopia at 20 million. Then Marty Supreme for just a week it was 15 million. So I can't remember what. And I guess this other story too. I guess there's a couple other ones here. Zootopia now is the It's so annoying when they put the live action animation remake of Lion King in there. But technically, Zootopia, so taking that out, is the fourth biggest animated movie of all time. Nisa 2 is number one. It's Inside Out 2, and then Frozen 2. And I think it's at like 1.45. So it just means like another 20 million, which I think it could do. New Year's. Clearly, this is the movie that families have chosen to see over that. Because me and Emily were talking about like, because I watched K-pop Demon Hunters, why they didn't put that back in the theaters for Christmas. And we're talking about like, oh, because Avatar and everything. But I said, like, I don't think that would have taken from that crowd. It would have taken from Zootopia. I think Zootopia has taken more from the Wicked crowd, right? Because that's the other story. Wicked is on VOD tomorrow. It's going to end with about, let me pull it up here. I guess there's lots of stories at the box office this weekend because Christmas. Let me pull this here. I pulled Anaconda because I don't know what to see. Not good reviews, but where is Wicked? I want to get its. So it finished 7th or 9th at 5 million this week. Okay, so 5, and then just like Wicked 2024, just to confirm. I want to see what the full drop was there. So Wicked. The first one made 758, so 760, and this made 500 million, and it's gonna kind of stop there, right? Make a couple more, but it's gonna go via deal. Maybe it gets to 510. Pretty crazy. So what? That's so, but like 150. No, yeah. Oh no, shit. Take 250 less, 260 less than the first one. There's one that I was wrong about. I said at least it'll make what the first one did. A little bit more, if not a little bit less, but about the same. That's big. Like, and I was not surprised though. Once, like I said, I saw the movie and I just felt like it was gonna not get the same word of mouth that the first one did. Because I've talked to really nobody that's not a big fan of the play, like a Mike or something, that loved it to that same amount, right? So I think the word of mouth just happened there. I do wonder if I've said this before that maybe they should have waited another year. Maybe people miss it a little bit. But again, also just the movie just doesn't have that word of mouth, and yeah, we'll see. But yeah, finish at 5, like about 510. That's a big drop off. Would not have thought that would have happened there. But yeah, Zootopia, I think it will beat Frozen. And I said this opening weekend too when we got those numbers. Was it going to perform like Moana or Inside Out 2? And when we got that, and it was very similar to Inside Out 2, I said, okay, it's going to be like that. And again, that tracking. So hey, I was right with Zootopia, wrong about Wicked. But can it catch? Can it get another 200 million? I don't think it's going to get Inside Out 2, and I think it probably a little bit has to do with summer versus Christmas, but I'm just trying to think why would be the difference. What would be like, because I was going to say to me, Inside Out 2 is a better movie. So maybe it's just that, but maybe it just appeals a bit more appeal, but still it's apples to oranges, right? But still, I'm just trying to think like, what is the 200 million difference between a Zootopia and Inside Out 2? Like what gets there? And maybe it's just some more of those greater, like the creatures, whatever, the emotions people go on to, even Riley, right? Like seeing her grown up, I think that always does help. So you got that going on. You got The Housemaid right now sitting at 460 worldwide. So I think it's a budget of 35, but then kind of 60, 70 with what is it with marketing. So obviously it's made its production budget back. This will be a profit. This is good for Sweeney and her crew because obviously, what was it? It was like something Americana. It was Christie, and I feel like there's another one in there, right? That really underperformed. We talked about that many times in the fall about Glenn Powell, her, Mark Qualley, some stars that are coming on. Maybe Chalamet again could be. You can make a case there. We'll see, but still, $20 million, $70 million budget, like. It's still not going to make a massive profit, right? But still, do you make a case maybe he's starting to build with Dune, but we have to see if he can do that all the time. But this helps. But I think this is like a multiple stars with him, with her, with Brendan Sklar, and big with Amanda Seyfried. I think it's good counter programming. There's nothing like this around the holiday season. I am interested to see her next story. Definitely, it's good to get a win, right? Sweeney with anyone but you, with this, people like her at Christmas time. That's great, right? Whether it's her acting, whether it's just to see her, whatever. I will see this definitely like on VOD or something. I'm not gonna go to the theater to see this. I've heard it's like a schlocky, good time, fun. I like Seyfried. Sklar, I'm fine on. I like Sweeney as an actress, so yeah, good for her and her team there, like getting like a win there. Because if this would have underperformed, Legitimately, Euphoria gives her a boost, right? Because this is a good kind of 1-2 punch. You get Housemaid, that's a hit. Then back to Euphoria. I think she can be on the up and up. Um, if this would have underperformed, you would have seen her probably leading a lot less movies. But this kind of adds some juice to the fire, right? So good there. What I want to see was Anaconda, because this thing has not been reviewed well. Okay, you know what? What 43? This did better than I thought. It was $43 million or 43 million opening worldwide weekend. I just said a bunch of fucking words there. That's what it's at right now. Not its opening. That's what it's out from Christmas to now. Let's see. I just want to see the budget. That had to be cheaper, but I guess you know Paul Rudd and Jack Black. I'll never watch this. I won't say never. I have no intentions. Okay, so this is very similar to the Housemaid situation where it had a budget of 45. So what? It's advertising, marketing, probably 70 to 40 in there. So yeah, same thing. We'll see how it does and how it continues to play in the next few weeks. I feel like the Sweeney one plays a bit better as like a counter programming marketing, but at the same time, there's not like a rated R comedy out there, right? So that could kind of still get some chuckles around there. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, it was an interesting box office nonetheless. It's always interesting to see what's going to happen during the Christmas one. But and finally, not much to say here because I should have saved some of my thoughts at the opening there. But Stranger Things, man. What a pushback, right? It's been very interesting. Let me check my phone, make sure there's no big breaking stories or anything like that. Okay, there we go. We're fine there. Yeah, I said in my opening, and we're not going to get into massive spoilers. I'm sure many people see it might be a few minor things, right? The trailer for the last episode's dropped more. I'm not going to watch it. I didn't watch the trailer for the volume, whatever. I'm 2 days away. I can't see it in theaters. Still excited, right? I still prefer to see most. As I said before, these episodes were I was underwhelmed by them, but I'm still liking them. I still think there's some great moments. So as long as the finale can be that, I'll be happy to see it on the big screen. See with Emily, get some popcorn. Always good time. Always prefer to see things unless it's brutal at the box office. I said that I was underwhelmed and I could see some negatives, but I, for myself, also said I don't see it being like Game of Thrones season 8 level bad. Well, boy, was I wrong. Not for myself. My opinion hasn't changed other than there was one thing that, that's why I like the Discord. I had a problem with, we'll just call it the will scene, right? My biggest problem with the will scene was still where it was placed and the pacing of it and the timing of it. That was my biggest problem with it. I had other problems with it. And luckily, that's why I love, join our Discord down below. I had an issue with it, like, well, it's weird that this character feels this way about it when X, Y, and Z, right? But people point out, well, not the whole group knows this information, they don't overtly know that information, like I said, because there's some things with, I'll say with the ROM character that you could kind of like, you could fucking figure out, especially like right now. But again, obviously world-ending situation, but people point out, hey, the whole group might not or doesn't know that. But it's like, okay, that helps me with that scene a bit more, and I would redact that. And I will in my Stranger Things finale review. I'll bring that up and saying, oh, that plays a little bit better, but I still don't think the scene's perfectly written, and I don't think the timing and placement of it is great. I think there's some, you could just change the ordering of some things. We talk about all the time with wrestling with match order, right? Sometimes you put one match here, phenomenal. Put another match here, for whatever reason, might not work. Dead crowd, spots been done before, just the pacing of it. Maybe it's 2 weapons matches back to back. You never know, right? So that's what I'd say, because that scene, I still like the scene overall, and I think it's still a important scene. I think there's some things that people don't get about it, but that scene is being memed to big time, right? It is the scene where, and I guess maybe bow out if you haven't seen that or heard about it, but the biggest meme I've seen populate around is it's like a white page and it's a movie, and I've seen like Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. It's like the finale we got, and it's showing all these epic moments, and then it's like Stranger Things, the finale we got, and it's a bunch of characters saying that they're gay, right? Now, I'm not offended. I'm not like, oh, you're making fun of people. No, I get why people mean, because I even said to Emily when the scene was happening, like, is he really going to stop people while, this is happening and tell him when he's gay? And I get it. People might die. You want to get that off your chest. Just put it earlier in the episode before. It was just even the placing of it. And again, there's other issues I had with it, but still, that has become, and it's not even the finale, right? That's not the last thing, but it is like Game of Thrones, where it is getting bad reviews. It is getting the memes. You never You never want the memes, you know? There's good memes and bad memes. This to me is definitely the like, boy, does this suck meme. Hey, so I did not feel like it was the final season Game of Thrones level, but it feels like it's getting that treatment. So, and maybe that's where I will be, because there were people in Game of Thrones. I was there as like, this is other than some great episodes. And again, it's not, when you compare Game of Thrones season 8 to other TV, it's still superior to a lot of other TV. It just wasn't the quality of the other ones, right? And it was the big ending. That's how I feel like with this, but with that I was more negative, and I know there was defenders. I feel like I'm not a defender. I'm just not somebody that's like, oh, this is really bad. But again, the barometer of the GA, I talked to my sister. She's somebody like, oh, this is awful. Like, because she's like, why are you seeing in theaters? I'm like, oh, well, you know, I explained, like, I did, I like seeing stuff in the theaters. I'm a theater junkie where not many people in my family are. And she's like, oh, it's just going to suck. And like, well, I don't know that. I think they'll bring the finale. I'm like, oh, I just haven't liked the season. Like, that's where I was talking to her, and I already feel that momentum with other people. You know, the bike is going down the hill, and that's not good. Now, is it still going to pull those numbers? Yes. We'll have to see what it does for the legacy of the show, because that always sucks. I still hope they can make it because I rewatched Game of Thrones last year, and it was still phenomenal. That last season is still like, this does suck, but when you rewatch it all together, it's like, well, there's still amazing, incredible stuff along the way. And now that you know the ending, it's like, all right, it is what it is, but I can appreciate this now, right? I hope that's not that. I hope it's like, hey, the final season had some questionable stuff, but it still ended in a hell yeah, 2 thumbs up sort of way, brought it home, right? Like I said with Endgame. Some people don't like that first act, but then Act 2 and Act 3 they love, right? So it's like, yeah, we landed the plane, big win, we're all safe. But I was surprised by the memes. I was surprised, not like, I think the veracity of the memes and how more they are like, and I don't think they are mean spirited. I'm sure there are some, but I think it's more just like they're making that almost a joke, right? And that's the thing where, like not a meme joke, like the actual act of it is like, making fun of someone being gay or coming out, right? I think there is some of that, not all of it, but I think unfortunately kind of gets put together, right? And that's the thing where I think a lot of people, some of us with John in our Discord, where it's just like, I do think a lot of people don't understand that show does take place in the 80s, and that was a big deal. Again, I think just how they did it didn't make it feel like the biggest deal or felt like it was out of place. But if you admitted you were gay in the 80s, sometimes that could be a fucking death sentence depending on where you live, right? It's a big deal. So I think the problem with, I think majority of it is not that it is that Will's gay. I think it's just how it was done, but it kind of gets all put together. And then you got things that like Espo says on, we were talking about IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, lowest rated episodes. And there's review bombing, of course, like fucking like losers and just awful people that like don't like gay people. Like, oh, they're bringing this woke gay stuff into my show. As I've said before, please don't listen to this. I don't need your money. I'm fine with what we're doing podcasts. This is not the podcast for you. So you got those. You got Espo's brought to my attention. I didn't know this about a big ship community of Will and Mike, which never thought was going to happen. Like I don't know. Like it feels like 11 and Mike has been the love story the whole time, and it's not like Mike has ever been like heard that information. Like, oh, maybe I've not thought about this, right? Like felt pretty clear, I think, to me and the rest of us, right? So there's always that, and then there is the review bomb or just people negatively not liking, right? And I think the last thing I'll say before we round up here, because how many minutes I got here? I got about 8 minutes here. I think the one thing that hurts it, right, is it's different when you make something great and it's like, oh, this was great, but there's this thing, right? I don't think this is an apt comparison, right? But let's say like The Force Awakens. That's so many opinions have changed over time because of the trilogy, this and that. But I remember the time when Force Awakens came out, for the most part, I think it was aces. People had maybe a little, a nitpick here, there, a character beat that missed or this, that. But I feel like the only big thing was, oh, it's great. I love these new characters. It looks beautiful. JJ did it again. All these mysteries. Star Wars back, baby. I just wish they didn't do another Death Star. And that was the common complaint, right? About the main thing, right? And I think that's much better when it's like something's pretty well liked to love, but we all agree like, that sucked, right? You know, like that's the thing that left it from being a 10. Same thing, that's why I can't give Force Awakens a 10, right? There's maybe other things too, but it's like, that's why there's one big thing where it's like, yeah, it's just kind of too much of a rehash, right? With Game of Thrones, and then with this, that's the issue I find, that it's not, there are the big issues, right? The Dany stuff, the Will stuff, but when it's people are having different issues with a multitude of storylines, with Holly's storyline, with Max's storyline, with Jonathan, and which was good. I finally met another person like Emily that felt the same way about the storyline. I still have not met any people. I love the meme that are the meme or tweet that I shared in the Discord of, oh, these people went through this. Why are they acting like that? Like, to me, kudos to you, Kyle Goldface, and kudos to Emily and other people that saw it that way. You got what the creators were going for. I still think it's poorly written, and I don't think it works that way, in my opinion. But that's the thing where, and then the Will stuff and with the 11 stuff, there's multiple, and I don't think it's like in a good way. I think there's multiple things people are having issues with, and it's a different facetude of, oh, I like this. Well, I don't like this. I don't like this. I like, and obviously, sometimes that's good, right? Because I feel like Last Jedi is like that, and you could argue that makes a better movie as far as people. It's like a piece of art where people look at it a different way. Is it good for the brand and Star Wars? I don't know, and that's a question mark, right? But and that's where Last Jedi I still enjoy. I still like a lot of. There's some top tier Star Wars in there, right? But that's a movie that same thing as BVS. There's just so many different angles and stuff with it, right? And that really shatters the fan base. The luck that they have is that they're ending. I guess I kind of forgot the Duffer said we're doing a spinoff with a new location, new this. I don't know, because Game of Thrones, I was not interested in spinoff because I did not like the ending of that show. But I thought that was more apt because you got different decades, different families. With Stranger Things, I think that's tougher because a lot of people love the characters. And then if this season sucks for a lot of people, that's tough. And for me, it's like, well, it's a different character, different actors, different place, whole different story. For me, everything that's happened in the show, it feels very secluded to Hawkins and these characters and Papa doing the experiments. It's like, oh, well, in London, UK, they were also doing this here. It's like, all right, like that. This story feels the animated like prequel spinoff. Sure, that's fine. Give us some more stories. I don't know how much I feel I'm going to be there, but sure, give it a shot. A spinoff with a new character, new world, like I don't know, like, and it just feels like same thing. What could the spinoff be where in Hawkins they like close off this loop, like we did it and our characters are happy, and then like somewhere else is happening. It's like, no, I kind of want 11 and the crew to end this, and then I don't know if I want a prequel. Don't get me wrong, I could give it a shot. I'd have to see what the pitch is, the trailer, what the Duffer's doing, sure, because overall Stranger Things has been fantastic, right? And with House Dragon, I had no interest, and I end up loving that show for the most part. Obviously, there's some down points, but I was surprised by it on board. So I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just I don't know. All the adventure spinoffs, no same characters, but same thing. I don't want that where it's like, yeah, we do season one, that's like, yeah, Dustin's here. He's like, yeah, I don't know. So that's where if this show has an iffy end. It impacts the show's legacy, of course, but it's not like the MCU or Star Wars where it's a living, breathing, well, we got to tell more stories and continue. But when I heard about the spinoff, I was like, well, I guess that could kind of affect that, right? So we'll see. And there was another thing too where I saw like this is the lowest rate episode, and they compare that to the Dragons finale or the Game of Thrones finale. The thing I learned is that Breaking Bad's The Fly on IMDb is the lowest rated episode at 8, which one shows how, to me, still greatest show of all time. Your lowest rate episode's 8 out of 10. Any fucking creator would kill for a rating like that. Yeah, my lowest episode out of 50 episodes or whatever, multiple seasons, an 8. Yeah, but I didn't know The Fly. I get it. It made sense because I get why a lot of people, because my sister's like, that's a weird episode. But like, I get it. But again, shows the like gravitas of that show, right? But yeah, we'll see. So as I said, I think if things line up, I'm going to try and do a news Travis told you for the Wednesday 11 a.m. PST. If something changes, I'll announce on Patreon. And then I'm going to do a Stranger Things review. That should be up the next day for the finale. Our fall reviews, me and Dylan are going to do next week. We're going to do 2, 3, and 4 all together just because I'm sorry that I'm sure it's going to hurt our numbers too as far as missing some episodes. But just holidays, he's been traveling. I've had family, so it's just been tough. I haven't even watched it. It's been tough, and sounds like it's better to watch. Sounds like episode 2 is kind of a downer, but in a quality way. But yeah, so I'll be back. So you get 2 doses of Travis told you, coming up. And then the next couple weeks, next week, the 5th, we're fucking back. And then the gimmick is going to be this weekend. It's going to be the 4th. Right now, 10 a.m. PST. It's going to be myself and Espos for the full show. Maybe Dave will see, but we're going to review World's End. We're going to review, make some predictions for Raw. We're going to do our year-end awards, and then eventually we'll start getting a gimmick or GM mode going. We'll probably make plans for that maybe the 11th or something. And then but the 5th, we're back. It's the people's, I think, one of their favorite times of the year here at Geek First, because I feel like a lot of creators or a lot of people take times off and they just do their best of lists. No, we got some of our best fucking content. We got the movie preview, got the video game preview, and then we got the fucking drafts. We got Marvel draft, we got the movie draft, we got the video game draft, we got the Golden Geeks nominations. That's tons of fun time. So some of our best content gets recorded in January. So January 5th is when the crew kind of gets back together. Obviously, Taylor's going to be gone for a couple weeks because they've not had their baby yet. I will not announce anything about that until they do, but they've not had their baby yet. Everyone's all good and safe, but Taylor will be gone for a couple weeks. I think he's going to make an appearance for one of the drafts so he can be in there and get his numbers down, but it's going to be me and the GV3 there. I can't remember, do we have a name? We did a whole cast about this, about our team names. What was our... We were... The QT boys. Okay, because we shared Tarantino. Sure, we decide on that. But yeah, the 5th is when we're back and new live content other than just myself. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for live chat. Again, Espos, thank you for telling me about the live feature. Join the Discord talk. It's been a great time in there. Join, Patreon. Get this episode mini ad free. Thank you very much. When you hear from me on Wednesday, I promise you,